Good afternoon. Welcome to the City of Urbana Arts and Culture Commission meeting on Tuesday, September 11th, 2024 at 4:30 p.m. in the City Hall chambers. First item on our agenda today is a call to order and the roll call.
Lori Fuller.
Present.
Sarah Buckman.
Present.
Barbara Headland.
Present.
Mark Anthony Macon.
Present.
Xander Hazel.
Present.
And Hannah Darcy.
Present.
I wanted to take a moment just now during roll call to introduce Hannah, if that's all right, with a little bio. Hannah is an associate technology manager at the University of Illinois who develops strong relationships with students and faculty focusing in physical sciences. She brings experience with leading a committee and reviewing small grants during her time at Tennessee State University. Hannah hopes to be more involved with what goes on into running a city, specifically with supporting initiatives that enrich the lives of residents. Although her love of the arts doesn't play a huge role in her day job, 2D art and creative writing are an important part of her life. We're super happy that you're here with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
The next item on our agenda today is the approval of minutes from the previous meeting. Do we have any discussion? Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting, please?
Motion to approve minutes from August
Seconded.
17th.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. It is approved. Now we move on to additions to the agenda. Are there items to discuss today?
There are no further additions.
No further additions. Thank you. Do we have any public input for today's meeting?
No public input.
Oh, good. We're getting to our presentations faster. Wonderful. So today we have some visitors to share with us their grant presentation information. Just to remind our guests, if you can, keep it to 5 minutes-ish, if it's possible. The first one is the Urbana Arts Grants 2023 King Park Peace Project. It's going to be presented by Janet Sosby. Welcome back. That button on the left there, yeah.
I don't have to hold it, do I?
Is it lit up? Does it light up?
How's that?
Oh, wonderful.
A little hot. Okay, yes. My name's Janet Sosby. I am the Community Program Manager at the Urbana Park District, and I'm here talking about our King Park Peace Project that we did in conjunction with the Urbana Rotary. So this has been a fun joint project that's got a few moving parts, so I brought some fun pictures. The kind of start of this project was this inspiration of this MLK mural, and this mural was done by our community program coordinator, Nikki Hoseman, and the tiles were printed by children at the Jetty Roads Day in 2018. And then we commissioned artist Lisa Kessler to paint the mural of MLK on the tile grid that we had built. Nikki actually wrote to the foundation and got special permission to be able to use this likeness. Because it was a youth project and a community project, they gave us that permission. So that's pretty rare to have that happen. So 2019, we had put up the mural. We did a ribbon cutting for it at Jetty Roads Day. So those are members of the Jetty Roads family and Lisa Kessler. So that was kind of our start of our beautification of King Park using art and doing community art projects, which is something that we had done in all of our play days in the park. And so that was kind of our first start. And then we went to the next step, which was when Rotary approached the Park District about combining for this next part, and this was the grant project part. So the Peace Project began with these very cool peace letters. Those are our spring break day campers in 2023. So in summer of 22, we had started working with Rotary, making plans, and I had suggested the artists about the Peace Post project, but then we also wanted to do a kids part because we really wanted to let a professional artist do the post installation, but then we wanted kids to be involved, and so we did Spring Break Day Camp where I drew out the letters and our ops crew cut them, and then the kids painted them at Spring Break Day Camp, and they did a fantastic job. That was in March of 23, and some of the Rotary members came and watched the kids paint, and that was really fun. So the kids had a great time, and they were actually really respectful of each other's space. We drove little boundaries so they each had their own section to paint. So we had the peace letters, and those were installed at King Park on the bank shot basketball cart. So those are the peace letters. They look really cool. That was not a great shot because the sun was behind me and the sky was all white, but they're very vibrant. They're still in really great shape. So that was the first step of this peace project. And then it was time to do the Peace Post. And so working with Rotary Peace Builders Club, I suggested two artists that I had already known but really got to see their work when we did the Great Outdoors project in 2020. So Lisa Kessler and Janelle, they knew each other, they hadn't worked together, but they really liked each other's work, and they come from very different disciplines and they do very different things. So I thought it would make a really interesting matchup to have them work together on this project. So they signed on to do the Peace Post, and that was in the spring of 23 into summer of 23. So these are some fun progress photos of the materials. Lisa Kessler is a professional artist. That is how she makes her living. And Janelle is, she's a little bit earlier in her art journey, and she uses lots of repurposed materials. She's very creative, and she does really funky, neat stuff. So very different materials, very different approaches, and they really liked working together. So these are some progress shots of the Peace Post as it came along. So these were in summer of 23. So initially we thought we'd install it for Jetty Roads Day of 23, and some timing things happened, so that didn't happen. So they kept working on it through the summer. And then here it is installed at King Park in October of 23. It's just gorgeous. Actually, with that sumac behind it, it was a great day to take a photo. So that's right on Lincoln and Washer. So that's right when you enter the park. They each did some parts they did together, they each did separate parts. The theme of the post is May Peace Prevail. When we met with Rotary, they were talking about all the different ideas of peace and what peace means to different people and in different contexts. And they wanted to focus on local people. So there's little families that represent the neighborhoods. There's little houses that represent the homes that people live in. So these are, reflections of the Urbana and Champaign-Urbana community. So May Peace Prevail. The bird on top, you saw the metal. There's a phoenix on top. So that's the Peace Post that they two worked on together that our ops crew installed. It's a 10-foot post, so 3 feet of it is in the ground. So it's there for a little while. It's really gorgeous. So October it was installed. The plan was, which you saw in the grant report if you read it, it was going to be dedicated at the MLK Peace Walk in January of 24, and that was when it was like negative 29 degrees out. So they were like, I don't think we'll be peace walking. So we're like, let's do it in April. So they picked a date in April to commemorate his assassination, and then that event got rained out, and so we were like, Jetty Roads Day 2024. So we had a really nice Peace Post dedication ceremony right there on the corner. Mayor Marlin was there, Cedric Stratton from our board, Barbara Jones, who was the president of the Rotary, I think she still is, and then of course the police chief was there as well. So we had some speeches talking about what this project meant to the community that pulled together to do it. And then some of you may know that Janelle is also the poet. She's the former poet laureate. So she actually read a poem that she wrote about Urbana, and it was very moving and very lovely. So We had the poem, and each of the artists made some comments and talked about the project and what it meant to them. And then, of course, we had a lovely ribbon cutting. So here's our ribbon cutting with Janelle, Cedric, Mayor Marlin, Barbara Jones, and Lisa Kessler. So we just wanted to say thank you, all of us. You know, these projects, sometimes they do go long like this, but it's been a really fun project collaborating and working together. And I know we appreciate the opportunity to come together with the commission and the Rotary, and especially the city and their support. And it's been really fun. And that's, you know, we plan on doing more things at King Park, and especially keeping peace at the forefront of those projects that we work on as we go forward. Any questions?
Great job, Janet. It's nice to see all these different organizations and artists come together to create an art piece, and it's nice to see the traditions of art with this park. So great job.
Thank you very much.
I remember when the statue was built earlier.
Oh, the Preston Jackson piece.
Yes, the
Yes.
Preston Jackson, and that area is becoming a good attraction for visitors too, and it's one of the first things, if they
Exactly.
come into Urbana on 74, was one of the projects that we developed to enhance that whole corridor,
Yes.
and it's working.
Yep. I think so. Yeah, it's great.
It's wonderful to see lots of people from the community contributing and, you know, knowing that they can have a part of this, and especially the kids doing a big part of the peace sign was just fantastic to know that they can feel like they're a part of the community. In
Yeah,
that way.
when
So-
they did it in Spring Break Day Camp, and when the letters got installed, I sent an email out to all the families and said, come out to King Park, your letters are up, and they're on the basketball court, and swing on by, and then told them about, you know, Jetty Roads Day coming up, which is a, you know, we were talking about the history of Jetty Roads Day and how it's grown so much, and so it's a pretty big community event with, you know, 75 community groups that are represented, so it's really exciting to have art be a part of what's going on. And we always love having interactive, hands-on art activities for kids. It's one of our favorite things to do. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next item on the agenda today is Creativity on Wheels Family Services of Champaign County with Evan Alvarez. Welcome.
Thank you. So here we are. Sorry, and I'm just setting a timer just so I can be mindful of time. So yes, we received the grant last year for our creative aging programs. They're geared towards kind of helping older adults engage in artistic endeavors. So we're going to talk a little bit about the purpose, how the program's designed, our partners, some highlights from the last year, statistics, the impact, some challenges, and goals for the future, all in 5 minutes. So the purpose was really to encourage creativity, and connection is the big word. A lot of these are couched in our office in what we call the Reducing Social Isolation programming. And we really focus on the idea that isolation is less about like interacting with people and more about building connections in general. So that can be connections to nature, it can be connections to your community, it can be connections to yourself, are all things that kind of make people feel less isolated and that we try to tackle through creative programming. There's 2 programs that were covered under this. The first one is Creativity on Wheels. We have boxes like that. I think last year we had 130 clients. Though we'll confirm that on a future slide. And we deliver those boxes every 2 months. They're designed with a kind of just thought-stimulating materials. There's quotes, questions, and then of course there's artistic projects. It is every 2 months. We've talked about going earlier, or more frequent, but a lot of our clients have said that they have trouble getting through everything in that window. And then we also will call on off months just to check in on how people liked the materials, how people liked the exercises. So we really love this program. That also turned into, though, the Creative Senior Connections, which is an in-person version of the same principle. So it's kind of a like group setting. We do art, we talk. and really just give people the opportunity to do art in a safe space. One of the big tenets that we have is just that, you know, a lot of different things can be art. You know, you have every right to be creative. There's no right or wrong way to do it. And like the last point says, the power's in the process. You know, it doesn't necessarily matter how it looks at the end. What matters was what you learned while doing it, what you learned about yourself, and how much you enjoyed it. And those are in-person classes that we do once a month. There is one that we do at our office on State Street, one at the Crystal Lake House, and we're starting a new one next month at the Urbana Free Library. So because of that, we do have a lot of partners. Obviously, we mentioned the Park District and the library. The Champaign Park District also takes the creativity boxes, and they have turned those into a group activity. They'll bring people together to do those together. The Cranet Art Museum has been an incredible partner. They designed our July box, and also it had like a little display of some of the projects that we've done. Florida House, the apartments, is one of another group that has decided to do the boxes together. That's organized by a pastor. But there's so many partners who we've worked with through this, and it's been one of the real perks for us. We do have an arts advisory committee with Rachel Storm from the Cranet Art Museum, Chandra Watkins, who's a local artist, Kuldeepa Vartak Mehta from Ascend Art 360, Lori Fuller, who's a local artist, and University of Illinois Art Education PhD candidate, and Rhonda Daniels, who's a local art therapist, who help oversee a lot of our artistic-based programs to make sure it's as effective and accessible as possible. This is one of our flyers. We do receive other funding from the Illinois Arts Council, the East Central Illinois Area Agency on Aging, the Champaign County Mental Health Board, and this last year from the Faith Vidoni and Marion Van Dyke Educational Grant. And we have the same funders for the Creative Senior Connections. The boxes come with all sorts of different things. This was the bird box, which we did in May. It was really incredible just because, right, the weather is warming up, like people are paying more attention to birds because they missed the birds. So we include a list of all the exercises, which you see on the left there. So that's the amount of material that we put in every box, really. On the right, we have what we call beautiful questions, which are just kind of meant to be engaging, kind of thought-provoking questions to get people stimulated. On the back, there's also a playlist of just bird-related songs. So we did Songbird by Fleetwood Mac, Blackbird by the Beatles. No, it's pure bangers, all killer, no filler. We also do include things like writing prompts, like you see on the left. We also have less structured artistic prompts. So if we will suggest maybe people want to like go and sketch a bird that they see out their window for this one. Maybe people want to like design an imaginary bird. The theme changes every box, but we like to include more opportunities for improvisational creativity. And then on the right, we have a kind of a table of contents. Part of the materials for this box, which was excellent, was kind of this magazine that was put together with information from the Anita Purvis Nature Center and from the Champaign Audubon Society to talk about birds in that context. We also include these affirmations with pictures and like inspirational quotes. I believe I went through all 6 of these birds at different points throughout today. Some major highlights from this year is that 4 group sites did form for Creativity on Wheels. There's 2 at the Champaign Park District. We had the one at Florida House. So we really love that even though the boxes are being delivered to people's homes and they generally can like potentially do them by themselves, it's great that it's turned into a social thing. We also formed the Creative Senior Connection specifically to be more of a social thing. We formed our Arts Advisory Committee, and we got some really positive feedback from volunteer calls. There's some scales that we do, just kind of standardized questionnaires, the UCLA 3 and the PHQ 2, to determine how people are feeling as they participate in these programs. And feelings of isolation and loneliness like went down demonstrably, which was really gratifying to see. So last fiscal year, we delivered 825 boxes to a total of 131 individuals, thanks to the support from the Arts and Culture Commission. So we're very grateful for that. About 1,200 hours of just human labor went into the project this year. It is overwhelmingly women who participate currently, though, of course, anyone is welcome to. I would draw attention to the age category here. Clients are eligible to receive the boxes at age 60, but we have clients who are over 100. And that's part of for me, the real magic of the programs. They're designed to be accessible for that full age range ability level. And we like to design things that are kind of accessible to complete, but with a lot of room to really dig in if it's something that you're enjoying. We have primarily English speakers, but some Spanish speakers. Most of them live in Champaign County, though we do provide some service to Douglas County. 43% identify as having a disability, 32% are low income, which is why it is kind of amazing that this is all provided free of charge to the client. So we do, again, appreciate the support that allows us to do that. Organizationally, it's been really great because it's infused some creativity into our own work culture. But also among clients, we've seen a lot of just really positive feedback about feeling more creative, just feeling better overall, feeling more connected. In the interest of time, we won't go through like all of the quotes. The one I would want to draw most attention to is under mental wellness. Julie creates a safe healing space that motivated me to get up. If it had been any other group, I might have stayed in bed, but I thought, no, I'm hurting. My life is hard. I need this. I don't know if y'all know Julie Schubach, who works at Family Service. She's the one who created this program, and it's her baby. And she's just, an extremely intelligent, compassionate, just inspiring person, and I'm grateful to work with her. And then we see people connecting through the socialization aspect. And even if it's just having things to talk about with their loved ones, I think a lot of people are afraid to reach out, but having these art projects, it makes them feel important, it makes them feel interesting, and it makes them feel willing to engage with others. So in the city, it did provide a lot of opportunities for Urbana's older residents to become a part of the arts and cultural scene. We did creative aging events at the Cranard Art Museum, and just kind of shed light on the fact that that art comes from having all sorts of like different varied perspectives participating at once. So even people who feel like, oh, well, I'm not an artist and that's how I have defined my life up to this point, there's always time to change that. Our big challenge is we like to recruit a wide variety of artists. So we are always trying to find more. We are always working to pace our growth because we want to grow, but there's pretty substantial labor put into putting the boxes together. And just designing the boxes for all ability levels and ages. But our goal is just to make that even more accessible, to encourage more communication among among participants, and to really embed programming into the existing arts and cultural scene in Champaign-Urbana and the surrounding county. So all in all, we have really appreciated the ability to introduce creativity into aging. It's really, really important, and we've seen some really incredible results among our clients and their general happiness and well-being. I apologize, I ran over. Are there any questions?
This was really inspiring to see. How would a senior get involved in the program with the boxes?
If they just wanted to call us. So that's that's Family Service of Champaign County. We have a senior resource center, but we also have a number for our counseling center. Any of our numbers, they can call and just say that they want to get involved, and we can sign them up, and it's free of charge, and the next one will go out. It's going out later this month, so it may be late for this time, but yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Great job.
Same thing for artists that might want to get involved or help put together boxes? Can they just get in touch with you, or?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much.
Evan, sorry, I don't have the flyer with me, but there is an upcoming showcase of the work, right?
There is.
And it's funny, I have I didn't bring that flyer, I brought those other two. It's for Active Aging Week.
It is for Active Aging Week, which I have on my calendar, and I can send information about that. Yeah, I don't want to slow y'all down too much. But yeah, so Active Aging Week is the first week of October. There's actually the full catalog of events available. Is it on the Park District website? Perfect. So that information will be available there. All right. Thank you.
While Andrea's pulling that up, I suppose I'll introduce myself. My name's Kevin Garcia. I'm the principal planner for the city of Urbana, so I head up our city planning division, and we'll let Andrea introduce herself.
Yeah. I'm Andrea Rudy. I'm a senior advisor for integrated strategy development here at the city of Urbana, and my charge has been coordinating the comprehensive plan for the past actually couple of years now.
It's been a few years.
But anyway, it's been a while since we've been in front of you and wanted to give you an update. We've had some exciting things happening, and we're excited that we're at this point of the comprehensive plan process. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to do this. So first of all, we're going to give you some background again. It's been a while just to kind of refresh you on just about the comprehensive plan in general. It's our community's vision for what Urbana should look like in the next 20 years. It articulates the overarching goals, which we're calling big ideas. We're not calling them goals and objectives. We're calling them big ideas, and then the strategic actions are big moves and little moves, and we'll get into that a little bit more. And then it's primarily our long-range planning document for the city of Urbana. And Kevin, his department is probably, I'll go ahead and say it, the primary user, but it's used throughout the city as well by other departments. So this is the process, and I'm glad you have screens in front of you because it's a lot of information on a small slide because it starts back in 2020. Our phase 1 community engagement, that was just getting ramped up. We did a website. We had an SMS survey. We had in addition to on the website, you could take a survey. There was an idea wall. You could post ideas, maps, etc. Then we went door to door. We targeted different communities that we felt we weren't hearing from. So there's a lot of effort went into community engagement in that first phase, and we published a report that I'll talk about a little bit later. Then what we did was saw that the themes that developed from that, and that set us up for phase 2. Phase 2, we did what we called a balancing act exercise where people prioritized where they wanted to spend their money. So they got this fictitious $100, but there were many more things to spend money on than your $100 would go for. So it was an exercise that showed people, hey, I got to prioritize what I really want done in my city. And so that was really helpful for us. So that gave us those guidelines then in starting to formulate what the plan should look like. So bottom line, we really wanted to emphasize that the plan came from the people. It's all came from the ground up, and getting comments from the public, all different walks of life, and we really feel like this is representative of what we heard from the people. Kevin, you want to add in?
I agree. Yeah, and so where we're at right now is sort of all the way on the right side of this slide. So we are going to our various boards and commissions, so thank you. You are the first one outside of our plan commission that we're speaking to. So we're going through all of our commissions, and then we'll be, in the next few months, we hope, going to city council for adoption ultimately. We do have a draft out. We've got links at the end of this presentation, and we encourage everybody to read that and give feedback on that as well.
So hopefully we're winding down at the end of this process, and we'd like to see it get approved, get presented to council by the end of this year. So we've published some reports. One of the things we did early on was we assessed the 2005 comp plan to see what lessons we could learn from that, good and maybe not so good, and see what we could learn. The first round of community engagement was summarized in the community outreach summary that we published in October of 22. Then we had Examine Urbana, which in a lot of city comprehensive plans, it's called existing conditions, meaning what's your city look like today. So we called it Examine Urbana, and it's a very, I don't even know how to describe it. Kevin, take a stab.
Yeah, it's a deep dive. It's a really deep dive into existing conditions. I'm not sure who all here was on the commission back then, but the just the section on arts and culture is really deep. That was the whole thing was put together by our former colleague Lily Wilcock, and she. I mean, we printed this thing out. It's over 300 pages. It's just there's so much information there that is so good and so useful, and we're really proud of it. If I were Lily, I'd be just exceedingly proud of it.
And it's online. It's out
Yeah, it's
there,
still
and
there.
we use it a lot to refer people about information. There's a section on development and taxes that is really just chock full of information. So we refer people to that to say, hey, this explains things. It's very interactive. There's a lot of graphics. So the online version we recommend versus that 300-page printed version. Then the second round of community engagement was summarized in the Balancing Act findings summary. It was another online exercise, but we went out into the wards and turned it into a game, almost like a board game, where they got their $100, they could plunk it into different buckets, and anyway, it turned out to be a fun exercise, and again, that gave us the priorities that we then implemented into the draft plan, which we've now, that went public on the 20th. You should have all been part of the information release that went out that day. I think we included all the commission members on that, and if not, we've certainly got links that we'll show you so you can give us input. So the table of contents, I'm not going to go through that too much, but vision and values, again, those came from that first round of community engagement. There's background on what our process was, how the plan was developed. Then we get into what the big ideas and the big moves are. Again, those are the goals and objectives, and then the action items that go along with that. Kevin has been very busy here in the last few months on the master plan, or master map, and he'll go through that a little bit later. We've got some actual maps to look at. What our tracking process is going to be, one of the things that we're really, we want to do is we've established metrics that we want to, as a baseline, and we'll keep looking at those metrics as we go forward to make sure, are we implementing these, and if not, why, and doing regular updates. So that's real important to us. And then the appendix has all the different reports that we've done, including Examine Urbana. So we've got copies on the back that are PDFs. They do not include the appendix. Those are available online. The appendix, when you print it, is pretty thick. So this slide just gives you an idea of how everything fits together. We've got 4 big ideas, and we'll go over those in the next slide. And then we have 11 moves that go along with those. These are things that, in order to make those ideas, that vision a reality. And then the little moves are underneath, and then the metrics tie across all of those. So our big ideas, idea number 1, Urbana is a place for everyone, and I feel like we are well along that path to being that place for everyone, but we know that there's places where we can be better at that. I don't know why that came up. Urbana is both financially and environmentally resilient. Who doesn't want their city to be fiscally responsible, but we want to go that step further and include the environment in that as well. Urbana is a city of connected neighborhoods. Kevin, you want to just explain that one? And maybe that's not as clear to people what that means to be a connected neighborhood.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't want neighborhoods to be isolated from one another, or from things that people need on a day-to-day basis. So, yeah, really, that's the idea is better connections between neighborhoods, within neighborhoods. Yeah, and complete neighborhoods where you can kind of meet the needs of your everyday just within that neighborhood too.
And then what's going to be important to this group is Urbana embraces its cultural vibrancy and character, and I think this group already plays a big part in making that goal a reality. So then we get into our big moves, and I've highlighted big move number 5, expand Urbana's arts and culture program, and we hope that you'll embrace that big move. And you can see some of the other ones on here. I won't go into all of them. Another one that would be important to arts and culture might be big move number 9 also, increasing Urbana's economic vibrancy. The arts play a big part in that, but I highlighted number 5 especially. And so then for big move number 5, these are the little moves that go along with that. And I left you all a handout on your I call them place settings. Everybody makes fun of me, but they're at your seat, I guess. So there's a handout that talks about that big move and what those little moves are to help make that a reality. So increasing funding, I think that's something that everybody is, would like to see happen. One of the things that came out of our community engagement was people would like to see a large signature event. Some people remember the Sweet Corn Festival and what that did for Urbana. It takes a lot of staffing to do that and funding, and so that's some of the challenges that we have with that. Streamlining the permitting process for events, whether it's the parking lot closures, fire and alcohol permitting, there's all those different things that we want to be able to have local groups host festivals of their own, et cetera, but we need to streamline our process within the city. Another thing that came up was having a downtown tourism and entertainment district. So evaluating that, see if that's something that'll work for Urbana, and if it's feasible, then developing an action plan to make that happen. And the next thing, we talked about the big event, but having smaller events year-round throughout the city that are hosted by community groups. And so, like I said, first we need to make that process simpler to make happen, and then trying to encourage people to do that. So the associated big ideas that this is affiliated with, Urbana is a place for everyone. Urbana embraces its culture, vibrancy, and character. Those are the 2 main big ideas. The project lead, as you can imagine, is the Arts and Culture Program. Did you know you were called a program, Vivian? Yeah, you specifically, or the program probably, but she does have some additional help within the department, but as we know, Vivian leads that. Implementation partners to make this happen are going to be the Economic Development Division that Arts and Culture is a part of. 40 North, Experience CU, our Public Works Department is a big player in making events happen. Of course, the Police Department, our Liquor Commissioner, and the Fire Department. So it takes a lot of people to coordinate.
Looks like planning is off the hook on this one.
Yeah, you can kick back. So the rollout, hopefully everybody got one of these in the mail, this postcard. That came out they were mailed on the 15th, first class mail. Most people got them by the 22nd. So that was our first announcement. The QR code was on here, the website, and it also has the locations of our community events that are coming up. The first one will be tomorrow night at 25 o'clock. So we're just trying to get the word out to get people to come to these meetings. We want them to give us feedback on the plan. Go online if they can before that. If not, we'll talk about it when we're there. We'll have poster boards. Kevin's got maps for everybody to look at. They're very interesting to see and to see what the future growth could be for the city of Urbana. So then, like I said, we did send out the information release on the 20th, and I went ahead, I put this one in because this was just because we're trying so hard to get people to come to these meetings, and so if there's something else out there that you can think of that we should do, please let us know. We did digital advertising through Smile Politely. Smile Politely wonderfully did an editorial, and you've got that in front of you too. We were just tickled to death that they took the time to comment and give us actually great feedback on that. We've done print advertising. I know a lot of people don't take the newspaper, but some do. And then we did digital advertising with the News Gazette also. So 90,000 impressions out there. And we're also a headline sponsor on their app. We started that just about a week ago. And then flyers. We've got flyers. We're trying to get them out via neighborhood groups, sending them the PDF to send to their neighbors, send it to council members to send it out to their distribution lists, just any way that we can get people there. So And they can go to any one of these. We held them throughout the community, different places you can see, different times of the day, lunch, dinner. We've got one Friday night at 7, just trying to reach anybody that can give us feedback, and we hope that they'll do that. So just wanted to see the effort that's been put forth to hopefully, get some people there. So here are the different sessions that we've got. 25 o'clock, the Vineyard Church, the Illinois Law Enforcement Training Center, the Urbana Free Library, Tiger Academy, which is also Freedom School, Adult Ed, and then St. Matthew's Church. So hopefully there's one that's close to anybody to go to and that they feel comfortable going to. That's really the main thing. The review timeline, the dates are tentative here, except for the community meetings are set and the council meetings are set. But when we're talking about Plan Commission review, Kevin, why don't you just talk about what we've done so far and what you see coming down the road?
Yeah, I mean, well, what we've done at Plan Commission is we've been holding a series of study sessions to sort of go through the draft plan, refine it, really just make the plan better. And then once we get through those study sessions with Plan Commission, it has to go through a formal process where we advertise it as a typical public hearing, and then it goes through our Plan Commission and then ultimately through City Council for adoption. But according to the Illinois state statutes, the Plan Commission is the one that actually prepares and presents it to our City Council for adoption.
So we've had one study session, well, actually now 2. We had the first one on the 22nd of August. Then we just had one last week on the 5th of September. The next one will be on the 19th. I know you have another case that night, but we'll have a little bit of that meeting for additional discussion on Imagine Urbana. So it'll continue on their agenda until we get a recommendation. Is that right?
Until we feel like it's ready to proceed as a case. So, yeah.
So we're looking for feedback from you. If you've had a chance to go online and make comments, terrific. If not, we've got the QR code here, the web addresses here, and then if we have a little time, Kevin, you want to look at the
I can
master
pull,
maps?
Yeah, I can pull this up. So there's an interactive map online that you can go to.
And it's part of the plan itself. If you're into the online version of the plan, you'll eventually end up here also.
Yeah, and this shows, so this, there's like a legend and stuff you can turn on over here. But basically this is just a pretty basic thing so you can give feedback. So, and I can refine this. If anybody has any ideas for refining this, I'm all ears. But basically if you want to make comments, you just kind of click up here. So I'm going to go maybe, let's see, I'll zoom in downtown to, let's say the Boneyard Creek crossing is right here. It's purple. That means it's sort of our downtown type center area. But if you want to make comments, you can kind of click over here. I want to make a general comment, and you can kind of click and draw a little area. And then you can type something in over here. So I'm going to suggest, I don't know, what am I going to suggest?
Lighting. Lighting, Vivian.
Yeah.
Lighting, electricity.
Okay, so I would type in electricity, I would hit save. I'm not going to do that here, because that's just kind of how you do it, and you can kind of go around. I'm not going to save that. Not now. If somebody wants to make that comment, they can. But this is kind of cool. It's cool to just pan around and look at stuff. And I think if you just sort of, if I click on something, so those colors probably won't mean anything to you unless you figure out how to turn the legend on. but each of these colors represents a future land use category. So this one is just a residential neighborhood, sort of adjacent to downtown. We're not wedded to these names. We might change them. We're calling this the mixed use core, which is kind of like a downtown or business center. This green strip coming through the middle of the city so we're calling those green spaces and recreation, but that runs the whole length of the city because that is a future path for the Kickapoo Rail Trail once we build it through the whole of Urbana and into Champaign. Looks like some people have put comments on here. This one's from me. This is a parking lot next to where I live. and I
Didn't have to fess up, but
I know. But see, if you do make comments, then people can click on them and they can say, would love to see, like this one says, would love to see more housing here in place of this parking lot. That's just an idea.
and your comments are anonymous. You know, nobody's going to know where that came from.
Yeah.
So don't.
No, I'm gonna have to look into that. That's a good comment. So the comment from the gallery was, can we upvote comments? And I'm guessing there's probably a way to do that. So I'll make note of that. But that's the map. We're really looking forward to getting out and having these sort of neighborhood meetings, and well, starting tomorrow.
So we'll have, at the meetings themselves, we'll have some easels that will have the big ideas, the vision, values. That's, you know, kind of the, if people haven't seen that already. But the maps, we'll have them on tables. People can actually point out, make comments. We call them annotations that are already on there that have been developed from some of the feedback we've gotten. But we're hoping that we get many, many more comments on those maps so that we can incorporate into it as well. So it'll be very interactive, informal. People can drop in. You don't have to be there, of course, for the whole hour. Pop in anytime during that time, and we'll be there. And we'll have comment cards that they can write on anything if they, you know, so that we can capture those comments. So.
Yes, just a reminder, the first one is at 6 o'clock at 25 o'clock tomorrow.
And then Friday at the Vineyard Church. So 2 this week. That one's at 7 p.m. So, thank you. Any questions for us, or if feedback, if you've had a chance to look at anything, we certainly, I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but if you have feedback, we certainly love to hear it.
Just have one question about sort of the overarching, I mean, the plan that once, assuming it gets approved by council and the implementation is for the next 20 years. So is it mostly just providing council with, I guess, like a roadmap of things that they could do but don't necessarily have to do? Like, is it binding? How does that work, assuming that it's approved?
Well, so the plan is, so this will be sort of the guide for staff to use over the next 20 years because, you know, councils don't stick around for that long typically. But it would be, you know, it will be good for future councils to be able to look at when they do their yearly goal setting so that they can actually say, you know, we want to prioritize these specific parts of the plan. So I guess that's sort of how I envision future councils using it.
And the council will also know, based on the plan, what's important to the community. You know, where does the community want to spend its money? What are the things that are most important? So it really will be a good guide for them. Mm-hmm.
And then just, you know, getting into Big Move 5, because it's the one that's in front of us, you know, when we're talking about things of like increased funding for grants, you know, does this plan actually detail the mechanism by which that funding comes about?
If you go to the metrics section, and I'm sorry I didn't spend a lot of time on that, but there's we have metrics for every one of those little moves and how we're going to measure it, what resources will help us do that, and so would appreciate if you don't feel that that's detailed enough because yeah, that's where the rubber meets the road is when we actually implement those programs. When I talked about the reporting structure. We really are going, I mean, we're trying to hold ourselves accountable, and that's what it's about. One of the lessons we learned from the 2005 assessment was that things that didn't have specific action items related to them often didn't happen. I mean, there might be other reasons too, funding, et cetera, but if they didn't have action items, that was an immediate, okay, it's probably not going to get prioritized because there's other things that were low-hanging fruit. So we want to make sure that we're holding ourselves accountable. Why have a goal if you don't really intend on achieving it? And having regular updates to council, and then we intend to have the plan itself updated every 5 years. Our last plan, I think we had, there were amendments, but there was only really one update during that whole time, and it was very early in the process, like in the 2000s. And so we want to make sure that it stays relevant, that it's a living document that really can serve as the tool we think it can.
Yeah, thank you. And I should have led with this, but also thank you for all the hard work that you've put into
Oh,
it too.
well,
This
thanks.
is a
Thanks.
huge
Been a-
undertaking.
It's taken a village, that's for sure. No, but it's been a very enlightening process. I mean, so rewarding in so many ways when you hear from people and hear what their concerns are. And most people are just happy to be heard. I mean, we found that a lot, that, you know, they felt like, hey, somebody took the time to listen to me. And so hopefully, and that's what our postcard says. We want to know if we got it right. I mean, we did a lot of listening, but did we capture that? And we need people to tell us. I mean, it's one thing to gather the information, but did we capture what, you know, they really felt?
I have a question. How do you envision the economic impact of these programs if they come about? And as a property owner, I know since I've lived here, my taxes have tripled. So I know that that's probably other people feel that way too. And that's with the senior citizen discount, we're still
Well,
way up there now. How does
you hit the
this-
nail on the head. I mean, we have to have, you know, more income, more revenue into our community, and economic development is of course, a big driver in that. So we're really trying to beef up our efforts. I think we've done a lot here, even during this time that the plan's been going on. Some things are happening. Not everything's come to fruition yet. For instance, H Mart, I just can't wait till that opens. But we worked really hard to get them here, and it's now finally happening. They should be open by the end of the year, and things are progressing. But those are the activities that we need in order to do the other things that make our community great. We have to have that economic development driver, bringing income into our community. So that's what it's about.
else?
Are there any ways that you see the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission helping forward Big Move 5 in the next year or
Absolutely.
so?
That's really why we want the commissions to really have a hand in this. We want your feedback. If there are things there that are missing, of course, that's a big deal. So first off, it's giving us that feedback. Look at the things that we have there. Is it missing something? Are there things that you want to add? Please take part in that. But yes, when we're talking about some of these big moves, you saw that the Arts and Culture is the project lead, and the partner, one of the major partners, is the commission. So when you have ideas on how we could do this big event or the little events with community groups, of course, you know, you guys are going to play a big role in that, or I hope.
I particularly love the idea of increasing budgets for the Arts and Culture program. I know that one of the things that we had talked about in the juries over the years is these smaller grants really help support tourism and community events in town in Urbana. So I think increasing the budget for that would be great. And I love the idea of kind of standardizing the permits for small events or working with Public Works. So I think that's fantastic.
And one thing I didn't mention in the process was that we had staff working groups that once we got the feedback, that first round of community engagement, staff spent many meetings talking about it and how we can improve and how can staff make these things happen. And it really did involve all departments. I mean, Public Works was right there at the table, and they're the ones that are saying, hey, we need a better process here, you know, to make less work for everybody, including the public and staff as well, on how to make things happen with the least amount of pain, I guess, because it shouldn't be that way. And so we're really looking at how we can truly make that happen, streamline the process. And staff is all on board with that. I don't think I'm overstepping that, am I?
You are not.
Okay.
Further discussion before we thank our guests and wish them well in their continuing project?
We're hoping to be out of work here by the end of the year, right? Or at least this part. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
hard
And please, give us any feedback you can. We hope you go online and look at the online version because it looks a lot better than the ones you print out. But we'll take any feedback any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there a deadline for when you want to collect most of the feedback before you present to council?
That's a good question. Really, until we get the Plan Commission.
Yeah, I
meetings
mean,
going.
you have at least, I'd say, a couple of months. So,
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, sooner is better.
Because it'll help us in just streamlining this first draft that we've printed out. That is the first draft, and we know that we've already gotten feedback on the site. It's such a neat website for us to be able to use because people comment, we can see them, nobody else sees who does those comments, and so it's staff only, and we can then look at those and start making some quick changes. I mean, some things are pretty obvious, and we can make some quick changes. Others require some thought, and that's when we'll probably involve the Plan Commission, of course, and other members of the staff to make sure that we capture those other types of comments and get those into the system. But yeah, if you could do it within the next 30 days, that would be awesome. And usually people do that. They do it right away or they don't do it at all. So, and if you can attend one of the sessions, love to have you there. So
It's great that you're
Thanks.
making people more aware of the project, because I think some people aren't aware. So your efforts are going to make a difference, I'm sure.
I hope so. Thank you for listening.
Thanks.
Okay, and the next item on our agenda today is the staff report.
Thanks, Janet, for the support. Hello. It's been quite a busy summer this summer, and I am super excited to share a little bit about what's been going on the past month in August, just to kind of touch base on some events that have been sponsored or co-sponsored by the Arts and Culture program, but also to talk a little bit about this month, because maybe you've realized that this is an incredible month for events and culture and the arts in Urbana and in Champaign. All right. So the first sort of program I wanted to go over is the Lake House Candlelight Serenade, which was the symphony edition that occurred on August 30th. I do know that it actually didn't occur on August 30th, right? It was postponed to the Saturday due to rain.
Different idea.
Yeah. Here's some photos that were taken. I was not able to attend this one, but Barbara and Janet, if you want to talk a little bit about some of what happened, we'd love to hear a little bit more.
Well, I'd like to say thank you to Janet and her staff, because without them, we would not be there. And they do an awesome job. And it was a beautiful night. I have lots of comments on my Facebook page. People were delighted with the program, and they couldn't believe how beautiful the lake house was after they got through decorating it. It was really a magical night.
Hi. I will say we did the May version was jazz with the CU Jazz Festival. And this August one was the symphony, and we were sold out, and we took walk-ins until we couldn't safely add any more people. So we did have to turn about 8 people away. If you've been to the Lake House, you know there's lots of levels, there's lots of steps, and in the dark, and it was very dark, it's, we had to keep walkways clear, we had to keep people safe, and we're also dealing with the boat dock and boats. So we did have to keep an eye on the numbers. But obviously, the symphony is very popular, the program was very beautiful, and yeah, it took 6 of us 6 hours to do all of this decorating. So that's why on Friday we had to make our weather call by 2 p.m., which was the right call because by 6:30 p.m. it was pouring. We love this program. We really appreciate the arts and culture program support because we couldn't do it without them. We're the muscles. We get the stuff done, but we couldn't do it without their support. And of course, obviously the musicians and the audiences. What's really interesting is 40 North is our other partner on this program, and 40 North was running the check-in. I was taking the walk-ins, and we looked at the RSVP list, and we didn't recognize very many names, so we were really excited to get lots of new people. Obviously, some people hadn't been to the lake house in years, and they were like, oh, we forgot about the lake house. And the park has been, a lot of work has gone into revamping the park, and it looks gorgeous. And so we're really excited to highlight the lake house and the park. And obviously, the blend of nature and music is the perfect thing. And we had 80 patio seats that were filled, and then we had 22 boat rentals that went out. People went out on boats, and this was Rachel Storm's idea, like right before she left the city. So it's kind of cool that we're still doing this event.
Third year.
Yeah.
And
So-
it's grown too.
Yeah.
Going from just one evening with one set of musicians to 2 evenings, 2 genres of music, and
Right.
it's
And
very
obviously
cool.
the audiences, like it's getting well known, and when we do these events that take so much work, and the people are like, are you doing this again next weekend? We'd love
Volunteer.
to. We'd
I'll be
love
there.
to. But yeah, I really appreciate, and Rob from the symphony was very helpful, and we really do like it, and I think it's really special, and there's nothing else like it. And it is for grown-ups. We keep it to a grown-up event, which the Park District doesn't do very many things that, A, you pay for, and B, are for grown-ups only. So it's a very special program that we really like.
Well, I think we reach people from further away. I know there was a family that came from Georgetown and Oakwood that came. I don't know if anybody came from the west side or the north side, but there were people I know that came,
Yeah.
especially because of the evening. And other people said it's like a mini Tanglewood or Ravinia, and we need to do more of it. That brings people out.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun. So I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Janet.
I want to hear that recording that you made.
What was that?
I want to hear the recording you made of the Beatles song.
Oh.
Yeah, I never posted that.
Might have a royalty issue, but I'd love to hear it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving right along to another adult program. Craft Happy Hour took a very short break. We did not do Craft Happy Hour for the month of August, and Carol Inskeep and Carol from the library, we've been working together to create a calendar to go up to the end of the year. So now we had our first one back into this new season. That was this past Wednesday, last week. And it was Felt Love Garlands for Pride to kind of kick off students being back. So we were in the auditorium in the Urbana Free Library. It was a great time. People made all sorts of different types of heart garlands. In October, we're going to be doing some needlework with the local artist. In November, we're going to be designing our own tarot cards. We did that last year. It was so much fun. We also had 2 tarot card readers there to do some readings. And in December, we have the Open Lab Makerspace that is going to be opening their doors or their closet with all their really fun equipment to bring it out for the Craft Happy Hour. So it's going to be really fun. We also sent a postcard out to over 6,500 households this year, just to kind of spread the word of the library, because it's really easy for people who live in the neighborhoods right near the library to always know what's going on. It's not always easy for people who live, on the outskirts of town or just not in walking distance of the library. So really excited to see how people make their way into the library. I'll say that just this first one that we had for September, we had over 32 people who showed up. And normally we've had a small group of like 10 all the way to about 35. So it was really great to just see so many people right off the bat. Another special fun thing that's happening is the Urbana Night Market, which I believe I shared with you all last week. We had our first night market last Thursday, and it was amazing. It was super awesome. People came out. We started at 6 p.m. We ended at 9, and a local Brazilian band, Samba Soul, came and performed. They had a 5-piece band. It was really amazing. We had Kinsey Fitzgerald, who's a local artist, do some live painting during their performance, and it was really awesome to kind of see it being really sunny out for just a little bit, and then sunset and the moon kind of peeking through, and then all of a sudden it was night and the lights were twinkling. So it was really sweet. There were food trucks, art vendors, and of course the live music. The vendors are different than the vendors that are at the Saturday market in the morning. It's art vendors, it's vintage, thrifted sort of vendors are allowed for this market. It's a little bit more inclusive when it comes to who can vend. There's also spots still open for the rest of the series, so if there are any artists out there who want to showcase their work, they can apply on the urbanamarket.org website. Oh, and there was some dancing also. It was really cute. This week, so tomorrow is actually our next one. Tomorrow's Thursday, and there's going to be a local punk band, Pancakes, performing. They're very fun. It's going to be a good time, probably some dancing happening. And then the week after that, which is the 19th of September, Barema and Jason will be playing. On the 26th, we have Rory Book and the Volumes. In October, we have 4Beat, who's a really amazing percussionist. And then for our final performance, our concert series event, we have the Slaps that are going to be joining us on the 10th, and they're from Chicago. And they're also a band who was at Pygmalion a few years ago, so some people in this area are already familiar with them. So it's going to be really great. I believe your packets have a little flyer, so you can either keep that at home or find somewhere in town to leave it mysteriously. All right, so just in terms of upcoming events, this is going to be a really wild month for events in Urbana. We have the Pride Parade and Fair happening, not this weekend, but next weekend. And on Saturday, the parade will be starting at 1 p.m., and at the same time, the fair will be happening at the Busey Bank parking lot. And the City of Urbana and Arts and Culture will be doing a pop-up tie-dye station. We've done this a couple times before, once at the farmers market and then again at a postmart event. So we'll be doing some tie-dyed tote bags. It's free, so people can just swing on by and tie-dye a bag and go home with it. Pygmalion is also happening at the same time, and it is another grantee for the Urbana Arts Grants. They're going to be doing some really special events at the American Football House, doing some literary readings. That's something that's sponsored by the grant, and some really amazing events happening at the Canopy Club and Rose Bowl and Channing Murray Foundation. So definitely see about checking out those events. In addition, the CU Black and African Arts Festival is having their kickoff event at Rose Bowl on Friday, the 20th, and then That is a free event. And then their other sort of main festival is happening that next day on Saturday at the iHotel. And the iHotel is basically going to be filled with really amazing vendors, just kind of lining the space up. There's going to be art displayed, and it's going to be really amazing. So definitely support that if you get a chance to squeeze in all these different festivals into your schedule. Looking a little bit further down in the calendar, the IMC applied with Mark Enslin to bring Bread and Puppet back to Urbana. So Bread and Puppet will be doing a performance at Crystal Lake Park on September 7th at 7 p.m. It's going to be, what was that? Yeah, the poster says 7. Show up at 6. Just kidding. But it should be pretty amazing, really large-scale puppets and really theatrical, whimsical performance. Also, the Central Illinois Bat Festival kickoff, because they have never done this before, will be happening. That is going to be on Saturday, September 28th from 1 to 8:30 at Anita Purvis Nature Center and Crystal Lake Park. And that should be really fun. I think that there's a lot of different partners, including the Illinois Bat Conservation Program at UIUC and some other folks, Park District. I don't know who else. I'll put flyers on the table. Okay, there are flyers on the table. And of course, I also just wanted to sort of remind you all that Urbana Fall Fusion Festival is happening October 5th, because I know that we will be meeting again on the 8th. So I just wanted to add this one too. But this is the collaboration between 40 North and Urbana Arts and Culture. It was really fun last year. The downtown was just absolutely covered in pumpkins and really cool photo ops and art and painted gourds and the popcorn wagon. It was a blast and really good weather. So definitely mark your calendars and see if you need some fall photos to share with your family. That is all I have in terms of events. Was there anything that anyone wanted to share? Any specific? Yep.
Since you're on October 5th, that is also the weekend of the University of Illinois Youth Literature Festival. And on Saturday at noon at the Institutional Learning Institute, there will be a musical and puppet show free to the public at noon, which I'm performing and producing with, it's a former radio play that hasn't been performed in a long time, but we've added a puppeteer and I've commissioned some artwork to go with the storyline, so we'll have a PowerPoint. And there'll be Ferdinand the Bull, and there's a teddy bear circus in the middle of the two pieces with the ensemble. And then it'll be repeated at 4 o'clock that afternoon at the Methodist Church at Lincoln Square, right over here.
Thanks, Barbara.
I'd like to add that the New American Welcome Center's Welcoming Week, I believe, kicks off on Friday this week.
Maybe Friday?
The 13th. So that's a good one. With the Fall Fusion Festival, are there going to be pumpkins again? Lots of pumpkins?
I haven't been completely debriefed yet, but I'm going to guess yes. I'm not sure how many pumpkins, but
Sure.
there will be pumpkins.
Well, last time I talked to Kelly, it sounded like they needed a lot of volunteers to help with event running, checking in on people at booths, as well as Teardown. One of the perks of Teardown, you get to get some pumpkins.
Get the pumpkins.
Assuming they're pumpkins, but
I'm
more
glad
details
that
to
you
come.
brought that up. There is a sign-up sheet for volunteering for Fall Fusion. I did this last year for setup, and we had way too much fun creating the photo opportunities. So if you're someone who likes to kind of like make installations, we had a blast, and there's probably going to be more of those. So I'll make sure to send out the volunteer link to the commission email thread. Amazing. Cool. And I did just want to say, just because we had the comprehensive plan presented to us, and they're kind of looking for feedback within the next month, I thought that maybe if we wanted to do a discussion during our October meeting, we could talk about some of those little moves, see how maybe there could be more detail or whatever you're thinking in terms of if they're saying that this is what it is, how can we help them to actually make things happen and help the council and the plan commission understand what you think is a priority too, because what they have is from feedback from the past and also staff feedback, but this is a good opportunity to solidify, certain directions that you guys think are good to go in. So, yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I believe that's everything, and that's the end of my staff report.
Much.
Thank you.
So we are to the final item on the agenda today, which is to adjourn. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Second.
I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.